welcome. I'm Lydia Naomi, and usually I'm showing you guys how to make clothing, but today I'm going to be showing you how to make this wonderful table. I found this idea on Pinterest because I was looking for an easy table to make that had lots of storage underneath, and I happened upon this in Pinterest and I was like, I can do that. With the help of my husband, lots of YouTube tutorials on woodworking and all, I was able to complete this table. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is my drawing to show you kind of how the table is going to go together and the different components that I need to make or assemble to create this table. So the main thing that took the most time is this frame that fits these Ikea shelves right in here. These are 1.5 by 1.5 pieces of board, creating the frame, and then also in the center to create room to put my rolls of fabric. And then I have my Ikea shelves going straight in there, and then two countertops on top that are going to be secured together by brackets, and then I'm going to put this kind of grip fabric on top of the Ikea shelves before I put the countertops on, instead of screwing the countertops together. That way this whole table is easily assembled and easily disassembled. I used a lot of what was already in the garage to create my table frame. So there were a couple of 1x1s that I found, and I looked for the straightest ones, and then for the base I used a piece of plywood that was 5/8 of an inch thick. I sanded down the 1x1s first with 100 grit, then 220 grit to just smooth it out. Next, I went up to measure my shelves and put my new Ikea Kallax shelf together. 58 and 13, 16. Oh my gosh. That was bad. And I have heard many a time how difficult it is to put together a Kallax shelf. I actually found it really easy, and I hope that encourages you to go at it unafraid, because it really isn't that hard if you just follow the instructions. Says it needs 2 people. No. Says it needs a leveler and a hammer. No. Pencil. Well, we do need a screwdriver. When I actually put my shelf together, I realized that it was lighter and smaller by an inch lengthwise and widthwise than my older model that I had picked up off the side of the road. So you'll see how I fix this later. Okay, so now I'm going to take these measurements and measure out my frame. How do I work this, first of all? If you are going to use a saw like I was, please use safety goggles. I don't know what we were thinking. We actually ended up using them later, but for the time being, I just closed my eyes, which is not a good idea. So definitely handle power tools with much more safety than we did.
Now you're thinking like a carpenter. Hey, you do it.
feel like it moved a bit.
You can sand that little
After establishing my frame dimensions, my husband cut the plywood to the size that I wanted it, and then I sanded it all down. And then I glued and screwed the boards in place. I also filled in all the holes with wood filler. So I measured the Kallax shelf width plus 1/8 all along here. And then I'm just gonna line it up right at that line. And then I filled in this hole, like the crack, and I clamped it together so that there wouldn't be as much of a crack, and also screwed them in. And so now I'm just gonna sand it, vacuum it, and then I have to paint this whole thing white. Okay, now first coat is done. I just realized I wore shoes that I like. So, my new Kallax shelf that I got is an inch shorter than my older Kallax shelf that I found on the side of the road. So I have to level it up with an inch thick piece. So I just got some plywood that's about the length and about the width of my Kallax shelf. And so I just have to glue it together. I'll probably just like sand it nicely, and then yeah. I also sanded this piece of glued plywood and painted one edge white so it would blend in with my shorter white shelf. This wasn't really necessary, but I thought I would just make it a nice piece of plywood so that if later I don't need it there, then I can use it as kind of a desktop or something like that. Now I'm going to do my second coat of paint. Dave says I should add caulking to it and everything, but do I really need to do that? He also says I should sand it again. I don't know, but I'm gonna repaint or add my second coat and then add the wheels. So we're just gently sanding it, and then I'm gonna caulk the gaps with this. My husband painted for a long time, so sanding and caulking is a result of that. You definitely don't have to go that hardcore if you don't feel the need. Finally, I cut some small squares. I really should have painted them, but I didn't for some reason. And then I screwed my wheels onto the base of my frame. Washer. beautiful. It's a fine, fine life. I don't think I really needed 6. I probably could have gotten away with only 4 wheels. And I have a carpeted studio floor, so the locking mechanism was kind of redundant for my floors. So you can keep that in mind for your table. Locking wheels are also usually a little bit more expensive, so that's another thing. Done! These tabletops weigh like 70 or 80 pounds each, so yeah. I actually sent them back. As much as I loved them, first I need to unleash them from their packaging, and thought they were really beautiful, I decided to get 1-inch thick acacia wood countertops, which were half the weight. I've discovered that I have to, well, I sanded them slightly, and I have to oil them every day for a week. So, but they're gonna look beautiful. I didn't actually end up oiling them every day. The oil didn't seem to really soak into them, and I'm still kind of unsure of how I should finish this tabletop. But since I'm not actually putting water on them or anything wet or anything, they should be fine until I figure out how to finish them better. The time has finally come to bracket my table together. I'm scared to do this because these are beautiful slabs of wood that were expensive. Half of 6 feet is. I chose to use these brackets, not for strength, just for keeping my table together and not having a big crack in the center. And as long as it's on a sturdy base, I knew it would be fine. I thought it would be kind of cool to make a frame on the base of these countertops, similar to the one on the bottom that would fit right over the Ikea Kallax shelves, but I knew it would take too much time, it would make it way more heavy, and so I figured I could always do that later if I really wanted to. So I added some non-slip stuff under this because I don't want to screw into this. I want to get another one like this later on and put it here, and then I won't need this leveler. So I put that in there. It won't move. So what I did was I used some carpet grip material and placed it on the top, and my tabletop doesn't budge at all. It's too heavy to be a hazard of falling off or of tipping. That worked really well for me. Let me just walk you through the table. This tabletop is, of course, as you know, 2 countertops that are 25 inches wide, so it makes for a nice 50-inch width here and then a 72-inch or 6-foot length, which will accommodate most fabrics. As you can see, the frame here allows these 2 Kallax shelves to just sit right in there with this divider here. I have an eclectic mix of thrifted baskets and then also this little, what do you call these, little drawers. And then I'm able to move this out and then you can see my messy and ugly boxes. It's still actually organized. It's just kind of messy because I hardly go in here. But it's pretty much full to the brim with fabric. And this is my desk for working on whatever I need to work on. Just, you know, typing and editing and making patterns, all that. But yeah, I love this table. I highly recommend it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, comment below, follow me on Instagram, and yeah, stay tuned for my next video. Bye!